In 2022, I lost all my friends, and ever since then, I've not had any form of lasting friendship. This is partially because I have actually gained higher standards for what I look for in a friend, but also because I'm no longer forcing connections to happen. I am content with being alone, and I'm not going to go out of my way to force a friendship because I don't need to. I don't need people in my life to be happy. And I'd rather be alone than have friends that are toxic, hurtful, etc. So I've reached this point in my life where I'm actually like, you know what? I've not had friends for so long, and somehow I'm actually happy about it. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about how I have found contentment in not having any friends and just spending most of my time alone, and how I've actually stopped allowing other people's social lives to make me jealous. How I've basically put an end to the fear of missing out. And I hope that through my tips I can help you if you struggle with feeling lonely or feeling like your social life is non-existent and it makes you feel down, or like you feel the need to be around people when you're sad or bored or whatever. Okay, so the first reason why I'm actually content with having no friends is because I would rather have no friends than go through what I did in the past. I have gone through some pretty rough things in friendships, and I feel like all the friendships I've had in my life have actually been full of drama, full of pain and hurt and betrayal. I've also been used by friends many times for things like money, which I didn't even have a lot of money growing up, but still, I was used for the pocket money that I did receive. And I've just been completely betrayed by people in some of my lowest points, which is not easy. It's not easy to go through. And therefore, I'm looking back at all those painful experiences in my past friendships and thinking, you know what, my life is actually way more peaceful now that I'm not going through any of that. And honestly, I don't have time for stress, for drama, for added chaos in my life, because my life is already so busy, so chaotic, that I just can't imagine having any of that in my life right now. And if I rush into any new friendships too quickly, then the chances of being in a toxic friendship are quite high, because I think it's very important to take your time with learning about different people and actually be convinced that the friendship you're going to put yourself in is going to be worth your time. I know it's important to explore and, give people chances, but if you're busy like me and also already have quite a traumatic past, I think sometimes reserving your energy and your peace for the right people is in your best interest. The second reason why I actually enjoy having no friends is because I love my own company. I sometimes, when I really think about it, I'm like, I actually prefer spending time alone than with other people most of the time. I do enjoy the occasional social thing, but for the most part, when I'm alone, I can do whatever I want without being judged or told that it's annoying, or I can play the type of music I like without being told that it's not that person's favorite music or they hate that music. I can watch whatever I want without being told, oh, I don't like that. I can basically do whatever I want and nobody's going to have an opinion about it. And for me, it's quite important to do things that I enjoy. And sometimes I find it hard to give that up when people have a problem with it. So for me, spending time alone is a very enjoyable experience. And I have lots of hobbies. I'm trying to grow my social media accounts, and I'm trying to work on personal development. I need time alone. It's not just that I want it, but I also need it to be able to do those things properly, because sometimes people can distract you from doing the things that are important in your life. And I'm not saying friendships are not important. I'm just saying that if you have so much alone time, then using it to your advantage is actually a really good thing. The third reason why I'm happy I have no friends is the fact that I am really busy. I am a really, really, really busy bee. And I am not very good at texting back, calling back, answering calls, arranging meetups, even sticking to plans. And I feel bad. I feel really, really, really guilty if someone wants a lot of my time, or they need me for something and I can't give them the time that they need. I feel like in a way it's actually disrespectful of me to mess someone around and not commit properly if that's not the point of life I'm at. I think right now I'm in a focus on achieving goals point of my life, which means putting time into other people is harder. And I think what I'm trying to kind of suggest to you through this is that actually sometimes when you stay busy, and staying busy can actually distract your mind from feeling the need to socialize. So if you want to be more content with being alone, I really highly suggest just focus on something that requires you to be alone, and you will probably realize that, yeah, actually I do need to put aside some social time and focus on what I need to get done. The next reason why I'm glad I don't have friends, but for the most part a bigger friendship group, is because I find it quite draining to do a lot of socializing. Now, if you're an introvert like me, what you will realize very quickly when you have lots of friends, or you get invited to lots of parties, lots of events, and you've got lots of things going on, it is so draining. It just makes me both mentally and physically exhausted. I, after a few hours of being in a very crowded place, just feel extremely overstimulated. And as soon as I'm overstimulated, it's I could not go out for a whole month. Recently I've been out with family, and at the end of it I just wanted to sleep for a whole week. So I just feel when I really think about it, yeah, it might sound nice to have lots of friends and go to lots of parties and all of that, but then when I really do think about it, I'm well, actually it would make me quite overstimulated, drained, and what's the point of that if then I can't give my energy to other things that are important in my life? Another reason why I enjoy being alone, not around other people, is because I get a lot of my comfort simply from watching people on YouTube, watching movies or TV shows, listening to music, reading books. If I feel lonely, I actually seek comfort from characters that reflect me very well. I feel it's much harder in real life to find people that you are so connected with and so similar to. And I can just find that so much easier through fictional characters, through art from other artists. I am the most understood by those people. And I live in a small town, which means that it's very hard to like actually find people that are both my age at my stage of life and have similar interests to me. But when you go on YouTube, you can find people that you're super similar to very, very quickly. And another thing that I highly enjoy is talking to people on social media, like online friends and connecting with other creators online. Again, can find people so much easier that are a direct reflection of me. I just know deep down how much harder that is in person. I live super far away from like any big cities or places where I can meet a lot of people, and I'm not in uni, I'm not in college, so it's a lot harder to actually find those connections. I just know that I will probably be the most connected to those people, even though I'm not meeting them, even though I'm not talking to them. I still get a lot of comfort from it. And sometimes that is enough for me. Sometimes meeting people that I don't even resonate with is not necessary for me. And I know not everyone might feel that way, but I don't need to meet people to fill a void or whatever else. I just need people for us to connect on something and enjoy something together. That is kind of what I've always deep down wanted in a friendship, but all the friendships I've had in real life growing up in the town that I live in, it hasn't been that way anyway. The next reason why I have actually just let go of my need for people is because I have done a lot of reflecting, I've done a lot of thinking, and I've come to realize the exact reasons why I used to have such a desire to have friends, why I found loneliness so difficult, and it was not for the right reasons. First of all, it was to fill a void. I felt the need to be wanted, liked, appreciated, and sort of to just fit in a certain group because I felt lost and I felt like I had no personal identity. Not a good reason to find friends because that is a mental struggle. Second reason was because I was bored. I was bored because I didn't have hobbies, I didn't have things that I put my time into that I was interested in. So instead, I would just like meet people to meaninglessly hang out and do nothing special, basically. So again, not a good reason to need friends. I have realised now that the only way to solve my internal issues has been actually not by seeking friendships or relationships or whatever I was seeking at the time, but actually the way to get through this is by healing in solitude. What I've needed all this time was to actually be alone with myself and actually ask myself, what issues do I have and what can help me get through this? How can I start to actually love myself, be more kind to myself, and actually just learn what my internal problems are, become more self-aware? I feel like when you pour your time into other people and not yourself, it obviously is very normal to feel lonely. It's very normal to feel like you can't enjoy your own company because you've not developed that relationship with yourself. Now that I've healed that relationship that I've got with myself, I'm like, loneliness isn't so painful anymore. And sometimes we need to spend time alone to become who we want to be in a friendship instead of searching for a friendship to become that person, because then actually what happens is you become a bad friend because you've not became who you want to be first. And at the end of the day, when I go into new friendships, I want to be the person that I've been trying to become all along, because then I will also attract better people as a result. The next reason why I'm happy and content with being alone is because I have actually just let go of the need to reach out to people every time I feel sad. I don't feel like my sadness is so overwhelming that I desperately need a friend to talk to. I have found ways of coping with my sadness that don't involve venting to other people. Now, in my years growing up and venting to people during difficult times, I've actually learned that it's not always as helpful as it seems. Now, trust me, I don't think you should give up on reaching out to people when you feel really, really low. You are allowed to do that. What I'm saying is, you don't need to do that. You don't need to have friends to get through a mental breakdown. You don't need to have friends and people around you to just feel happier when you're sad. You can make yourself happy, but the only way you can do that is, again, by spending time alone and learning what helps you cope with those heightened emotions. I find that journaling really helps me and music really helps me. So when I'm sad, that's kind of my action plan. I listen to some songs that relate to how I'm feeling, and then I also write about how I'm feeling, and maybe I go on a walk with some music too. More often than not, that helps me enough. My first thought is no longer, I need to call someone to talk about it. My brain knows what to do now because I'm so used to getting through those difficult moments alone. And the only way you can get to this point is by practicing being alone with yourself during difficult times. Don't put yourself in danger though. If you feel really low, then please don't listen to my advice. If it's a crisis, if you don't have a friend, you can call one of those hotlines or just try to reach out to anyone that you have. If you don't have a friend, then whoever else that you have in your life, like family, because obviously I don't want you to think that I'm saying suffer in silence. I'm just trying to tell people that don't have friends, you can get through your mental breakdowns alone if you don't have friends. If you're exposed to being alone for a little while and you do actually do proper inner work, you will find it easier to get through those difficult moments. The next point I want to make is the fact that it is actually very difficult to prioritize everything at once in your life. So sometimes you'll be in periods of your life where your career is the most important thing, right? You have been in a big hustle phase and you're really trying to grow and achieve big things. But as a result, you can't put as much time into spending time with friends and family and going to events or going to parties. Maybe you have to cancel some plans, and maybe that might make you sad, but you need to find comfort in the fact that it's pretty much impossible to excel in every single area of your life at once. I have learned this the hard way, that when, for example, there's a week where I'm invited to a lot of different things, or there's plans I've got with family or with friends or whatever, I will pretty much always miss out on something work related and not get something done in the house, or I won't be as active physically. But then other way around, if I'm flooded with work, then I'm not socializing, I'm not going out, I'm not even going on any walks, right? So if you really want to excel in a certain area of your life, let's say you just want to be a really good friend because your friend is feeling down and you want to really be there for them, you're probably gonna have to sacrifice some other things, and same the other way around. Now, I don't know what your life situation is, I don't know anything, but I can almost assure you that it is going to be easier for you to just accept the fact that maybe the universe put you in this position where you're alone for a reason. Maybe the universe strongly believes that this is not your phase of life for focusing on friendships. Maybe this is your work and personal development phase of life. It can feel quite lonely to be in this phase. It can feel quite isolating, especially when you have no one around you that is doing the exact same thing. No one there to cheer you on, tell you that you're doing well. You really just have to be that person for yourself and be proud of yourself for doing so well, because it is really just you against you in this world. Like, you're not competing against anyone apart from an older version of yourself. So just bear that in mind. If you ever feel lonely, just think of like the old version of you and kind of just like pat her on the back, you know, because you are doing great. And the last point I want to make today is all about mental health. Because for me personally, and maybe for you, when you're feeling low, when you're feeling lonely, when life just doesn't feel like it's going the way you have imagined in this moment of time, I just think sometimes that is an indicator of you need to do some inner work, you need to focus on yourself. I think from my experience of not only having friends that are really struggling with their mental health, having partners that have struggled with their mental health, and me being a friend that has struggled with their mental health, it often is a very big struggle. It is often a really huge battle to be there for someone like that, but also for people to be there for you. And I just think a lot of the time you need to kind of just distance yourself when things get rough, because it's easy to say the wrong thing, it's easy to do the wrong thing, it's easy to make people angry when you need time alone, it's easy to make people just like not happy with you when you accidentally flip out and say the wrong thing, or they think you're making everything about yourself and it turns into this huge mess. Sometimes self-healing is the best thing you can do. Like I said before, you need to become the type of person that you would want to be friends with. And there's nothing worse than being friends with someone that is constantly in a bad mood. And I personally don't want to put that baggage onto anyone. And sometimes it's really hard for people because if they've got their own stuff going on, but also you're putting a lot on them, it's only fair to say to yourself, well, actually, maybe this is too much, you know? So just remember, after you heal, after you take some time to focus on yourself, you will be a better friend to whoever you meet, and you will actually attract the right people too. I hope that comforts you a little bit, because I'm not obviously trying to be mean by saying that. I think it's valid to say, because we've all been there when we've had a friend that is acting a certain way that makes us mad, but most of the time it's because they're going through something. They're going through something internal and they're not acting the way that seems right, you know? So just remember that. Some people will distance themselves from you for that reason. You'll distance yourself from people for that reason. It's universal. And therefore we can't be upset when friends let us go, because we don't want them to be upset when we let them go. And we should also be content with the fact that we don't have anyone, because we're all going through things. We're all learning in this crazy world. That is it for my video for today. I really hope that it could have at least made you feel a little bit better if you currently have no friends. And let's just pray for positive friendships for the future for all of us, because at the end of the day, as much as this video, you know, covers all the things that should make you happy about this phase of your life. We all deserve to have friends, okay? We all deserve to find the right friendships, but the key word is the right friendships. So bear that in mind, and I really hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. Please be sure to comment below something that you learned today from this video, and I will see you next week with a new video. Bye!